Great, good evening. I'm Janet Steinmeier, I'm the president of Leslie, and it's really my pleasure to welcome you warmly to the third event in our Thought Leader series this year, our 2022-2023 Thought Leader. Tonight, we welcome Laura Sanchez. She's an award-winning flamenco artist, creator, choreographer, and educator, originally from Cadiz in Spain. She began her flamenco education as a child and received professional training from the Dance Conservatory of Madrid. And what's more, and very exciting, she's an alumna of Leslie University. She holds a professional certificate in expressive art therapies, where she developed an emerging therapeutic dance practice, expressive flamenco. Laura facilitates workshops, presents this work internationally, and continues to serve annually as a guest professor in the Leslie Expressive Therapies Master's Program. Her most recent research was published in the Journal of the American Dance Therapy Association in 2021. During the pandemic, Laura also award-winning short film, After Dark, to tell the stories of resilience of a community. This stunning and important work is a multimodal live production that combines flamenco with poetry, visual art, drama, and creative expression to create awareness about discrimination and mental health during COVID-19. This project is based on her experiences as an artist, as a woman, as a trauma survivor, as a mother of her first child who found hope in arts during the pandemic quarantine. I think you will be moved and encouraged by her artistry, her empathy, her commitment to using dance to empower others, particularly people who have been historically marginalized. Please join me with your warm applause in welcoming Laura Sanchez.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. I was thinking how I'm going to start, and it's hard because I cannot even say that being here is a dream, because I never thought that this could be even real. That was never a dream because I didn't even know that a field in the expressive arts existed before. So just to set up proper expectations, I am not going to dance flamenco tonight. But you will have a feeling of who I am as an artist, and I can let you know later if you want to see me dancing flamenco, when or how you can do that. So yes, right now I am a flamenco dancer, expressive artist, creator, producer, educator, mom of 2 little ones, but this is not what I've always been. I grew up in a family. I am from Cali, Spain. I grew up in a family in which being an artist was just not an option. Being an artist was not considered. I don't know. We don't have artists in our lives, so we just didn't know that this could be a life. Yes, life living. Yeah. Livelihood. Yes. So, but I always wanted to be an artist since I was this little one. However, I grew up in Spain. I danced since I was a very little one because I really loved it. However, the society, the expectations, everything guided me through a different pathway. So today I want to share my pathway and how I have transitioned careers over the past 9 years, how I have used the arts to overcome personal struggles and how I have transformed that into art and also into articles that are already published out there for others. So I have two bachelor's degree in business and marketing in Madrid, and I also have a master's degree in marketing and communications. Before moving to Boston, I worked for 10 years in the corporate world. I was this 22-year-old young, enthusiastic kid looking to become a businesswoman and on the outside. But on the inside, I always wanted to be a dancer, always. However, yes, I promised my family that I would be successful in the business and the marketing world if they gave me the opportunity to go to the conservatory and do what I really wanted to do. So I was 22 when I joined the conservatory, which is actually the age where in Spain, professional dancers start working. So I was basically starting with kids that were a lot younger than me, but that was what I wanted to do. So I was in school doing business and marketing in the mornings, going to the conservatory in the evening. This is all I wanted to do. And yes, I proved everyone I could do business the right way, get grants, get cum laude in the college degree. And then I broke my foot. So I said, okay, that's fine. That's a sign from the universe. I'm going to stop dancing. I am going to dance just as a hobby. And then I'm going to continue with this pathway, which is the business. Then I moved to Boston. My husband got an opportunity here and I came here to Boston 9 years ago. And I left everything. I left my family, my friends, my job. And I was so excited because I always wanted to live in the United States. That was kind of like a dream for me. And so I was here with an open book, like what I'm going to do now. Maybe I can reinvent myself. Maybe I can finally do something in the arts. And so, yes, for a year, because I couldn't work because of the visa issues of things we have immigrants, you can't just come and work. So it took me some time. So yes, I was starting to teach flamenco. I was doing consultancy for entrepreneurs. It was really fun. And then I did it again. I went back into the corporation. I went back into the corporation because that was what everybody was expecting me to do. The society, family, friends, you need to make money. You need to really have a job. And so I took a job. And I remember the first day I was sitting down on my desk and I was crying. I was sitting down there and I was like feeling my tears coming down, like, come on, I did it again. I'm here again. I promised myself that I didn't do it because I had the book. I could write the book from zero and start something that I really liked, but I didn't do it. So I used that as an opportunity to, okay, I'm going to use this time, the money to save and see I can train myself and teach. So while I was working there, I will work every single day to see how I can increase, how I can bring flamenco to others. Because flamenco for me at the time was like, okay, this is something that it gives me so much joy when I dance flamenco that I want to share that with others. So I offer a free, I went to different gyms, I went to different dance schools, and I offer a free flamenco class for a gym that is actually right here in Port Square. And I said, can I do a flamenco fit, like just to get in the gym? There's no shoes. It's just like we're going to just dance and feel the joy of dance. And yes, of course. And I was sharing, I just want to do this so I can share the joy with others the same way flamenco gives me joy. And there was this, her name was Rachel. She came to me and said, Laura, I'm an expressive arts therapist. I'm studying at Lesley University and there is this program and I do really think you could use flamenco or we can use flamenco in the expressive therapies field. And it was like, in the what? Yes, there is the dance movement therapy program. It is expressive arts therapy. Arts therapy is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what is that?
So I went online, I searched the program, I had a coffee with her. I remember exactly what I was sitting while I was talking about this. I went to the program, I was like, oh, this is fascinating, this is great. Yeah, but it has nothing to do with me. Like, I've never done this. I have no idea what they're talking about. It is crazy expensive. I come from Europe. In Spain, universities are free. So it's just like, how am I going to pay for this? So I was working at the bank. It took me 1 year to decide to take a class. 1 year. I would think about it every single day. And I have this internal battle like, that doesn't make any sense. It's not on your pathway. You are gonna just lose your money. And one day it's like, you know what? I'm gonna take 1 week off and I'm gonna take one intensive. I did sign up for the Intro to Dance Movement Therapy with Nancy Joe and Julie Levin, and that changed my life. I was so lost. Like, I remember, if there's anyone online or if any of the students that shared that class with me remember, I was there like, I don't know what I'm doing here, because all of you are in the field of mental health or counseling or psychology, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just know that I just want to be here, and I was lost. It was transformative for me. I realized so many things about myself. I realized how much I didn't know about me. But that week changed my perspective. Like I said, this is what I really want to do. I don't know how. I don't know what it means. But I do know that what I'm doing now is not what I want to do, which I knew on heart, but like I didn't embrace that. So, but I continue working at the bank. I did continue working at the corporation and decided to do the certificate. There is a certificate in expressive therapies, because signing up for the master was too much commitment and I just wanted to try and see. The good thing about the certificate is that I could pick and create my own program. So I took several classes, and then I had this class with Angelica Pina Perez, the class Principle and Practices of Expressive Arts Therapy. Another moment that changed my life, because the moment I met Angelica, first, I could speak Spanish to her. So we were speaking in Spanish. And just for you to have some reference, I have never written a paper, ever, nunca, jamás. In Europe, I don't know Europe. In Spain, you do not write papers. You just go, do a test, that's it. So the first few classes I was writing papers in English, trying to figure out what I was saying, because my English was not, it was less words than now. So it was, see? So I was like, I don't know, but even in a different language, it just was natural to me. It was like writing it, like, it just come, it's so organic. But then this moment, it did change my perspective, because she said, I talked about like, I really want to do something with flamenco. I don't know how to integrate this. I do know, I feel that I don't want to be a therapist just because it's not what I feel. I just feel that I want to share, yes, this idea of flamenco in a therapeutic way. And she said, you know what, Laura, you can write the paper in Spanish. You can do the project, the end of the year, the class in Spanish. And that changed. Yes, because I was writing from my soul was writing for me. I was not even thinking. I was just like processing everything I was experiencing in class with my words, with my heart and my soul words. So I was doing this project. It was an like to see how the arts could potentially heal, and I was integrating flamenco. At the time, but I was still working at the corporation, but I was suffering, I was bullied by my boss. I would come to work every single day scared, because I didn't know what I would expect. I didn't know what microaggression would be that day. I didn't know how she would treat me that day. Once I was jailed in the hallway of the company by another colleague telling me, don't speak Spanish because you live in America. And that, I remember that. I remember how I was like, wait a minute, what? I cried, not the moment because I was shocked, but like I was walking by and I was crying and I was like, I still can't articulate. Like I was like, I don't understand how someone can yell at me just because I'm speaking Spanish. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to this person. So that was another moment that hit me in a way that I used the anxiety and the fears and my situation to use all the things that Angelica was teaching in class for myself. So technically, I know that it's not authentic movement because you need a witness to do authentic movement, but because it was by myself, I just got in the studio, record myself, do what for me was authentic movement, and then witness myself, and then write about it. And I wrote a whole paper about how I was processing that anxiety through flamenco. And that's how I first said, oh, you know what? Expressive flamenco. That might be because it's not flamenco, it's not the traditional flamenco. It's just the way I use flamenco for an expressive and healing tool. The day I'm sharing this with, the day I received this microaggression, I had a meeting with Angelica. I was like, I don't know what to say, Angelica. Like, I'm just devastated. I don't know. I just feel scared. Like, I don't even want to speak Spanish in public anymore. I'm scared of someone else, like, telling something to me. And she was like, we talked about that and then said, okay, now we're going to talk about your paper. And she said, Laura, you have to do something with this. You have to do something with this. There is something in this that is so authentic, that is so real, that you need to do something. And it felt so right to me. It was the first time in my life. I was 33. So it was the first time in my 30 years that I did something intentionally by myself without thinking on anything else, anyone else, and the expectation in anyone. It was like, this is what I'm writing, and it's real and authentic because it's my personal story. And so I continue working at the bank while all of this. But for me, at this point, was so hard because I was like, it is so clear to me that this is the pathway that I want to pursue, but I am trapped because I am trapped in this job, making all this money, being in my family, being the supported, like the biggest financial support. How I'm going to leave all of that to do what? To do expressive flamenco. What is expressive flamenco? So it was there. It was there. The anxiety kept growing and growing and growing. And one day, my body spoke for me. One day, I was so stressed that my body stopped me. I got sick it was a somatic response to all the stress, but my body started to fight me. I had involuntary contractions, huge contractions. Like I could be like this and then go all the way to the floor and come back, like huge. If someone see that, it's like, what happened? It has happened to me many times. Like, what happened? What is that? I was so scared because it's like, what is this? Like, hey, you are my body. Why are you yelling? Why are you telling me all these things that I don't want to hear? And so, again, another moment in which stop and said, Arts, where are you? I took another class with Angelica. Arts, a studio, I don't remember the name, but it's Studio One, another class. And I was already on leave from my work because I couldn't work like that. I was pretty sick. But I went to the class and I was quiet. I was just listening. I didn't say many words. I was just like listening, hearing my body, others, and use the arts to really listen to the body in a way I've never done before. And then combining flamenco with other with writing, with journaling, with visual art. And I made my first like multidisciplinary piece, kind of like homemade, like very just like putting things together, inspired on my personal struggles and transformation. I was invited by Nancy at the time to present at the New England ADTA conference. Like, why don't you come and you do like a flamenco piece? And it's like, well, Nancy, I'm working on this idea of like expressive flamenco. Okay, fine. So I did came and did like a very little dance on what I was working on for the first time. I did say few words, but I wasn't ready to share more. And then I was encouraged by Angelica to present at the community of scholars. Like, Laura, why don't you present this piece and your process and your idea of expressive flamenco to the community? And I was like, okay, fine. Can you help me? Yes, I'm going to be there for you. I remember she was there. She didn't say anything. It's like, it's your work, but I'm going to be there for you. She was there for me, with me. And for the first time I was talking about this, there I cried because I was like sharing things that I was creating out of my personal story at the time. And it was so powerful to share that I said, I have to keep sharing this. I have to. And the response that I received from the audience, that I said, you know what? This autoethnographical research is going to now become the evolution. So I want to hear what the audience think. And I want to hear how this idea of expressive flamenco gets to others and how others experience it. Okay, I get into a new field. Like, you know what? There are these conferences, the American Dance Therapy Association conference, the International Expressive Arts Therapy. I applied for all of them, all of them. I made a list, like nobody's gonna call me, so I'm gonna apply for all of them. I went into all of them. I presented the work in every single one of them. I remember a friend, a dance movement therapy friend, who told me, Laura, do you imagine if you ever present this at the American Dance Therapy Association conference? Like, I was laughing, like, yes, Sissy, of course. I did. I went to Miami, California, to Madrid, to present my work, my research, something that didn't exist before. And I don't know how, but I did it. I just did it. And it was an investment, because I paid for all of that. When you go to conferences, especially if nobody knows you, you just go and just invest your time and your money into do that. And so it was the best investment ever. Like, for me, being able to present my work, to share, and also receive feedback. So I continue doing the research and getting feedback from the audience to kind of like continue with my work. I wasn't ready to do anything else, just continue presenting and sharing. And then I became a mom. I don't know how many mothers or fathers we have in the room, but it completely changed my life in a million ways. Fascinating. There's nothing I love the most in the world than my kids. And I also lost myself a little bit in the process. So I brought him with me to Miami and all the conferences. And then the pandemic came. So I was 24/7 with my 9-month-old baby, going everywhere and trying to keep up with my flamenco classes, because now it was I quit my job. See, when I was doing the expressive flamenco and I presented as like, this is right. This is what I want to do. And I don't care. I was on leave. So financially we said, okay, we're going to struggle a little bit, but I'm not coming back. I am doing this and I am doing this. How? I have no idea, but I will figure it out. So I'm grateful because I have the support of my husband. So I was able to do it because he was supporting me in the journey. So I was now full-time dancer. So I was I have to do a lot of online classes. I have to keep up with my finances. I have to keep the communities connected. And I decided to open a group, flamenco, expressive flamenco virtual group, to get to audiences everywhere. So, and I was actually doing it in Spanish, so I could also reach to my community. My community, as an immigrant, I was here. My family was living in Spain. And for those who doesn't know it, the pandemic hit before there. So I was here living the anxiety and the fears of my family there, who were already in the middle of the absolute chaos of the first few days. My father, he works in a hospital. So he was all day in the hospital in the middle of COVID with all the uncertainty while I was here, like, oh my goodness, when are we, the airports shut down. I have no idea when I would see my family again. I didn't know when I will be able to hug them. And that feeling of like, I've lost many things in my life, but like, I lost the possibility of hug my people. I was like, I just can't go there. Like, even if, I mean, there's no way I can go there. So there was a lot of like, yes, uncertainty and fears, but I had to be mentally healthy for myself and for my little one, because he was there and I had to be there for him. So I was hired to do a choreographic work before the pandemic hit. And the project continued, but we did it online. And they said, okay, let's create a piece in your house. And then we just put this together in a film. It's like, oh, fun. They wanted me to do a flamenco piece. And it's like, there's no way. Now I can dance traditional flamenco and get my costumes and dance. And there's no way, because emotionally, and it will be like, with everything that is going on, it's just not real. If I go there, wear my polka dot dress and dance with my flower and just show the world how beautiful it is, there's no point. So I decided to do something different, and I'm gonna show you what I did, okay? Lights.
Corona-Kabinett. Die Bundeskanzlerin finds pandemic hits new highs. The U.S. reporting more than 100,000 daily cases in the last 10 days. Corona-Kabinettszustände. Die Bundeskanzlerin hört ernst. Die Bundeskanzlerin hört nicht auf.
Ay, ña, 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 ña. How I wonder where you are. Taca, 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 taca. Ay. Ah.
siento viva. Expansion. Paz. Believe. Nacer. Trust. Esperanza. Poco a poco. 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 Poco a poco, poco a poco, poco a poco, poco a poco, poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco. Y poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco. Las palomas del mundo empezarán a abrir el vuelo y van a volar y van a volar y van a volar y van a volar alto. Y poco a poco y poco a poco y poco a poco encontrarán la forma de salir por la ventana. Se volverán a abrazar, se volverán a abrazar, se volverán a abrazar, se volverán a abrazar a la gente que aman. Lo volverán a sentir, lo volverán a sentir, lo volverán a sentir y juntos volverán a sentir el mundo de fuera. Pero hasta que eso llegue, esta paloma vuela despacio. Escuchando. Conectando con su alma y preparándose para que cuando podamos salir, seamos una mejor paloma, con unas alas más limpias, más claras, más puras y más vivas.
Lights? Thank you. So I did that. And they emailed me back. I sent this to the people who hired me, and this is not flamenco. We didn't hire you for this. We just, it's like, I know, but like, I'm sorry. The world is different now. It is not the world it was 2 months ago. And so I found a way to combine very little pieces of this with a different dance. And I said, you know what? I'm going outside. I'm going to get this dress and I'm going to do something that is still authentic to how I feel now. So I did a piece with no shoes. So I was still like, I'm not, yeah, it's just, and that approved. I spent a lot of hours doing this for myself. Like I was doing this for this work, but I was like, when I was in the closet, yelling in silence, what happened actually was I was doing actually that because my son was sleeping right next to me. But finding the times for me to create, to do something out of that experience was just, it will give me space to breathe And so, but it was, I watch this now and I feel pretty much like, yeah, nothing. But when I did the film and I watched the film, I was still feeling the anxiety. I was still feeling the pain. I was still feeling all of that. So watching this film over and over and over also was healing for me. But I just kept it on the closet, like, okay, they didn't approve my film, but that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. And then I don't know why I heard that someone, so this was in May of 2020. And no, see 2020? 2020, yes. And I have a friend, she's a filmmaker. And one day I said, you know what, I've done this. Do you want to watch it? And she emailed me like, Laura, you have to do something with this. Like, it is powerful. I made everything. I was the videographer. I was the editor. I was the creator. I had an advisor, another mentor that was very important in my life, who I was just doing virtual, like back and forth, like, what do you think about this and that? And then this person told me like, why don't you submit it to film festivals? And I was like, to what? Again, I was in a field I knew nothing about. Nothing. Like, I didn't know the film festivals was even a thing. So I just looked online, searched online. I was scared because I hadn't shared this with anybody. It was very vulnerable at the time for me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to submit it to, again, same thing. I'm going to submit it to They're not going to take it, so it's fine. Selected. Award winning of best dance on camera for this festival. And I was like, wait. This is completely like, what? So I heard some feedback, like, you have to make a better sound because the quality is not like so professional. I was doing it by myself with my phone. It's like, yeah, but I don't have the money. How I'm going to pay for that? And at the same time, I had already finished my paper, my expressive flamenco paper, in which I included all the things from the groups that I was leading in the pandemic, this film, what this film meant to me. But the same thing, I wanted to publish the article, but I wanted to publish in a way that was open to the public. If you do that, you have to pay a lot of money. Because I wanted people to see it. Like, I just wanted people to get access to anyone with the link to read the paper. So I didn't have the money. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to do a GoFundMe and I'm going to try to help, like, to see if my community of flamenco, my friends, my family help me finish the film and publish the article in a group, in a way that anybody can access to it. I had never done a GoFundMe before, and I did the GoFundMe with all my heart and all my, yes, like, this is important for people. I really want to show this. And it was successful. I got the money. I finished the film and it was selected in a lot of film festivals. And it was best dance on camera in New York, in Los Angeles, in Madrid, in Rome. People are you a filmmaker? No. I'm just I consider myself an expressive artist because this is what I do. I just use my personal story, my struggles, to transform my struggles and my joy and like my story into art that others can relate to. So life continued, and so did After Dark. So when I was presenting the film, people were like, and what happened next? It's like, I always envisioned, you know what? It would be so cool to see this film in a gallery with other pieces of art created during the pandemic. That would be really cool. Like, I was like, yes, and I can add movement. Now I feel stronger. I can maybe add some flamenco into the piece and make the piece live. So I made, like, same thing. How am I going to do that? There are no galleries. I looked online. So, okay, you know what? What if I do it myself? Okay. So I said, what do I need to make this? I wanted to do the multidisciplinary piece, and I wanted to also offer expressive flamenco workshop for people navigating the trauma and the stress that came out of the pandemic and the grief, the losses that we all experience differently, but we were all in the pandemic. So Okay, I need money, I need this. So I did the same thing. Okay, I'm going to apply for grants. I have never applied for a grant. So I went to see what are the grants out there for artists who might support my work. I made a list. I create a proposal. I made a blurb. I asked people, what do you think? Let's make it strong. Feedback, back and forth. Yes, they gave me the money in different grants. They gave me, they select my work to be, I was one of the residents to create a work at the Boston Center for the Arts last year. And so I had, like, this is a dream. Like, I have the money, I have the space, they paid for everything. They paid for the studio, they paid for the dancers, they paid for everything. It's like, now I just need to create, which is awesome. This is amazing. So I started to create a piece in which motherhood was, as you could tell in the film, motherhood was just a very little chapter in the whole film. It's like, okay, but it's an important chapter for me. And I was pregnant with my second child. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to start starting to create videos of myself now, because this is something that is this body and this experience is happening now and now. So I created a video of myself dancing when I was pregnant, and I started to create the work. While I was doing that, I received my article in paper. My expressive flamenco research was published in 2021 at the American Dance Therapy Association journal, which was, I cried so much when I received the actual paper and I saw, wow, look at this, like, this is my work, like, and I created the work out of nowhere. So it was very powerful for me. So my second child, so I was creating this piece, and then my second child was born in October of 2021. She suffered a severe brain injury when she was born. I can tell that was the worst news I've ever heard on my life. I was completely devastated. I thought I could die of the pain I was feeling, because I didn't even know if she would make it. I didn't even know if she would be able to come with me home. So I was like, I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I could only be with my husband because he was just going through the same. I didn't need to talk to him. He was just there, feeling the same things in his own way, but just there. So one day I read a metaphor about Holland and about how when you are pregnant and you're going to have a baby, you make plans, you imagine a world, you make all the things about like how exciting it is to have a baby, and how is the baby going to look? I'm going to hold my baby in my arms, and you make all those dreams. And then instead of so you make a trip to Rome, and then when you arrived, it's not Rome, you go to Holland. It's a different place. You know nothing about Holland. It's scary at first. And the arts saved me again. So one metaphor put words to how I was feeling, like I didn't chose this, and how I am going to get out, like raise from my rock bottom. And so I opened an Instagram account that is actually called Un Lugar Llamado Holanda, a place called Holland. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to write. I've never done this before, but I'm just going to do it. And I am going to share it however I feel, literally. So basically the people who was with me, they walked through my grief and my pain with me through poems. I became a poet. I started to write poems every single night. People would say, Laura, every time I read you, I cry. And it's like, I know. I mean, I don't know, but like, I cry. So maybe you do cry. But you know what? Crying is such a powerful thing. You cry, you clean, and then you can breathe. So last year I was there. And so the deadline to produce the show was coming. I had the money, I had the time, I had the space, I had everything I always dreamed for. I was just not myself. I didn't know who I was. So they asked me, Laura, do you want to postpone to next year? It's okay. You can step back, you can do it next year. And I said, no, I want to do it. I want to do it, but I'm going to do it differently. I no longer want to make a multidisciplinary piece about the pandemic because now my trauma is bigger for me. like I'm in a different place right now. So the film was part of it because it's part of my story, but it was not the focus of that. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a whole show about motherhood. What it is to be a mother, what it means, the transformation that happens, the things that are common to motherhood regardless of your story, such as like the body, the transformation, the changes, the loss of identity, many things that happens when you become a mom. And then talk about my personal view of what was for me to be the mother of my second child. So I decided to use my project to find a group of self-identified women looking to explore the idea of motherhood with me and finding a group to support each other, to love each other, to help me walk on this journey, and then me helping them on the same path. I did an audition the first time ever. I didn't know how many people would show up. I was like, I've never done an audition. How am I gonna do an audition if I've never been in an audition? Same thing. Another mentor, Laura, let's do it. I'm here with you. We are gonna do it. 60 people showed up. We had 2 different groups. It was such a powerful experience to witness. I just tell them a little bit of my story and I ask them to create something individually of their own as a response to that, and then create something together. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so powerful. I received some comments from people like, just being in the audition was so powerful that I said, this work is gonna be powerful. And I continued. I was navigating new diagnosis of my daughter. I was navigating overcoming the trauma that came with all of that. And I was telling my group of dancers, like, I'm producing this show, but if the time of the show comes and I can't show up, you are showing up for me. We are doing this. It's just like, I might not be ready to show up to the world and tell my story because I am living it right now. So the show happened. There was 11 dancers. There were light designer, an architectural designer. I hired people I've never done this. Like what an installation art does. We do this. Oh, that's so cool. Come here, let's figure it out. And we made a brain. Like, how do you make a brain? She made such a powerful brain that it was just amazing. So yes, we put all together in a show. 2 days before the show, I was actually in the hospital with my daughter with 2 new diagnoses. She was miserable as so I was. So I was like, the show is in 2 days. There was a piece that I had to, in which I had to talk. I said, my advisor said, I want you to speak in the show. Like, there's no way I am going to be able to speak. So I recorded myself the day of the show. So it was one of the most important pieces. So because people could understand the story, otherwise it would be like, what is this all about? And I did record it the day of the show. I record myself, I send it to the videographers, like, okay, put it now. Because it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel the day of the show. I did show up and it was the most amazing and powerful experience. I still have that feeling. And I could do it because I had a group of women supporting with love, with like strength, like there were people showing for the show, and it was, some people mentioned it was cathartic for them. Some mentioned like it was too emotional for them. It was too profound for some people to handle. And so, but they said like there was so much love. So we built together such a strong and powerful bond between all the women that it was just there. And I'm so grateful that that happened. And yeah, so I feel that like I am an autobiographical artist that create pieces of art inspired in my personal stories, in my personal struggles, but that the themes are universals. I talk about womanhood, I talk about trauma, grief, joy, emotions, immigration. I talk about things that discrimination, like disability. I talk about things that are human, So I am working on my next piece. I still don't know. I have a little idea of what this is going to be. It's completely different from my last project because I'm in a totally different place now. I'm a different person. Now I can talk about this story without breaking down, which is huge and has been healing for me. The fact that I've been able to speak and to share has been really powerful for me. So one day I was sharing this today, that like life is not a straight path. And it can be like this. Some people have this. And for me, it's just the beauty of learning how to navigate that, what to hold on without knowing what it means, and trying to find joy in the tulips that you find on the way. And trying to, for me as an artist, to create art that it's basically making something beautiful out of a difficult situation. So I have a little video of my last production, if you want to see it. See, I see some yes. It's only 3 minutes. It's a promo video, so it's hard to understand what happened in the show. If anyone in the room wants to see the full show, I am happy to share a private link. Just let me know and I'm happy to share. It's emotionally intense because I basically open my heart to the world as I've never done before. And yes, so if someone wants to watch it, I can, but I'm gonna show you the promo video so you can have a sense of what I did. And this, both the film and this, is what I call expressive flamenco. And what I thought one day will be me doing workshops, yes, that's part of who I am. And I was talking with Nancy, I'm doing now a series of workshops about like dancing through motherhood and speaking about what it is to be a mom and create. I'm also presenting as the AVOL conference at Berkeley in April to talk about what it is to be, so disability from the lenses of a mother. So it's like, it continues with this, with my story and my journey, but it's just making by doing and keep going and trying to find ways. So I'm going to do it, and then maybe we can go to the Q&A to see if lights.
Give yourself the same kindness you so easily give to others. You are beautiful because of the qualities within you: strength, kindness, resilience. There is beauty in simply existing.
Viajamos juntos en este nuevo renacer. Te espero muy pronto al otro lado de la piel, al otro lado de la piel. Te espero. Espero muy pronto al otro lado de la piel, al otro lado de la piel. Y cuando el cuento casi esté por terminar, nos inventamos un final con más colores. Ale, ale, la vida está por empezar.
The more we get together, 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 the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
Not again. Once is fine.
And this is it. Thank you for witness and thank you for, yes, for being here.
I just want to say thank you from deep, deep in my heart, really. Just a beautiful sharing, a beautiful sharing of the journey. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I feel this has been so powerful. And I had these questions that I guess I'm just not even going to refer to them. We will have time for all of you to write out some questions, and there'll be people that will collect them, the little cards that you were given. And also for the people who are virtual, if you would put your questions in the chat, and Laura will take time to answer them and email them back to you. Yeah. I guess just one thing before we start with the audience questions that really struck me. I mean, so many things did, but when you were talking about being in Angelica's class and doing the witnessing to your own dancing, and that you needed to do it in your own language, that felt so powerful. Can you just say a little bit about that? Because I see the theme, you know, followed through in the films where it's in your own language, and it feels so, so important.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that question. Yes, so that was huge for me. Like the fact that I could express myself in a way that it's just, I was saying before, as an artist, it's how my soul speaks. It's, I've been 9 years now here. So there are some words. So I try to be authentic to myself when I create. So the film, there are some words that were in English because they came to me naturally in English. Myself, there's such a power in the world, myself, for example, for me. But nacer, it's better in Spanish for me. And the whole poem was born in Spanish. So when I was like, no, I'm going to translate so people understand, it's like, no, because my world as an immigrant, as a Spanish speaking immigrant in which English is not my first language, that is my world every single day. Today I was in such a powerful dinner having wonderful conversations, and there were still words that I couldn't understand. And especially when I came here, I had to make up my own, like create based on what I just understood one word of the whole sentence, and I just created, oh, I think they're talking about this. Okay, so that's part of my identity. And I also feel like, for example, when I was talking about immigration in the film, it's because as an immigrant, I needed to speak in my own voice. And like the subtitles is because it's a poem, and if you don't understand the context, but it was a point where like, no, there's not going to be subtitles in my life. There are no subtitles, but it's like, okay, people need to understand what I'm saying. So yes, it was powerful, especially because with the story that I shared before, I was really scared of really speak up in Spanish, very scared. Like I was like, not like rejecting being myself, part of my identity. That was huge for me, like who I am if I cannot speak in my own language. So, and for example, now that I have kids, I brought my kids into a bilingual, well, my older kid, into a bilingual school so he can learn Spanish. I was saying before, he speaks adult level Spanish with when he's only 3, and 3-year-old level English. So, but it's just like, it's part of who we are. And I tried to find schools around, and for me it was like, diversity is not something just for the numbers. I do need you to want me there. I want to be able to speak Spanish in the door and not looking at me like, what is she saying? Like, it's the language I speak with my son, and I want him to embrace that. So thank you for asking that.
Yeah, thank you. All right, here's the question from the audience. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I often need an outlet. I cannot find a quiet way to breathe. Your video shows how you find your escape with dance. What other ways do you find ways to just breathe?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yes. This is all I have to say. Thank you.
How did you overcome any doubts about your decision when life circumstances became unbearable?
You're gonna make me cry. So sometimes I just didn't have a choice. I was in the NICU with my daughter. The NICU is the ICU for newborns. Completely broken, like, I don't know. Yes, like all the fears and uncertainty. And I was like, I don't think I can survive this. I don't know how I'm going to be able to move forward. I had no choice. I had to do it. Like, it's like, this is my daughter and I'm going to fight for her. I'm going to find my way to get through this because I have to. There's no other choice. However, with my doubts, I still doubt every single day. Like, that's part of my new life. I don't know many things in my life. especially with her. And that's something that she or this experience has taught me. Like, I had a lot of plans before. You ask me about a plan. And I laugh because it's just like one day at a time, one little thing at a time. So for me, it was like, I couldn't find any hope. I find hope in the poem. And it's like, okay, what can I do? I'm going to open an Instagram account. Not to show, like, it's just like for like an like space to share. And then very little steps, one at a time. Something that I found is like I was saying before, doing something. I could have stayed here and I wouldn't be here talking about this at all. So just like, I don't know how, coño, voy, see, like, I don't know if I responded to the question, but I still doubt every day. It's just a matter of like finding something to hold into and just go with that little thing. And that little thing may guide you to something else. I'm sorry, speak my French.
Thank you. Talk about inspirational. Here's a question. I'm an early childhood teacher, first grade. You were so brave and daring, trying things you've never done before. How did your early education influence you?
May I reframe or ask again? And if I didn't understand. So are you asking how influenced me when I was a child, my decision making? Okay. 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 Sometimes, I don't know if I'm going to respond the answer properly, but sometimes when I'm lost, I listen to my inner child without anybody else. I just go back to that little girl in that room, watching movies of flamenco dancers and singing in the room and thinking, I'm gonna be an artist, and like singing and doing that. I go back into my child where I used to, I don't know if that was a thing here, but in Spain, you share like little like postcards, and I made my own. Nobody wanted them, of course. I was like, one day they will. So that was kind of like, and my parents like, okay, fine. So it does influence, of course. I think that some of my need to meet everybody's expectations come from my early childhood. I'm a middle child, like a middle child. So I always felt that I was by myself. I always felt that like the first one, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're the first or the third, that's my experience. The first one gets all the attention. The second one, yeah, a little bit. And then the third one, come on, what are you doing here? I was happy until you arrived. And I feel that I developed that sense of like, I need to be perfect. I need to show up. I need to do everything the way my parents want, so they love me. So I did decide like, and that was not necessarily the case, but I also think that like, when I was younger, my parents didn't have the emotional intelligence or the resources that we have today to help me navigate that. So I think that this work as an adult has healed a lot of the things that I was not ready to do based on how early education was for me. Did I respond? Más o menos? Sí? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We have 2 more questions. So what advice would you give to someone trying to find their true identity and passion?
Listen to yourself. Just My advice, who am I to give advice? Like, I only talk about my story. So, however, for me, that is difficult to say because I always knew by heart. However, the expectations, the needs of the society to meet certain things. For example, when I became a mom, you have to do this and you have to do it in a certain way. I like the milestones. You need milestones. You need to be here and you need to do that. And there was a point like, I don't care about milestones with my first child. With the second one, because she has multiple disabilities, is all the time. Has she reached the milestone? I don't care about milestones. She's not going to reach them, but I don't care. So what I mean with this is forget about all of that. Like put everything aside. Everything. Allow yourself to find space to just be with you. Listen to yourself. Ask yourself questions when you are, what do I want to do? And for me, what has been the most powerful thing and most important in my career is that when I do something that is just like, it makes me feel joy, like being here tonight. It's like, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Listen to that. Listen to that emotion. Listen to that joy that comes with whatever it is. Maybe it's just reading a paper about, yo qué sé, cats. I don't know, like anything. Maybe you were meant to be a veterinarian. I don't know. It's just like, but listen to your heart. Listen to, in a daily basis. I'm not saying go to a master. It's like, no, in your daily things, what makes you happy? What makes you feel joy? What makes you forget the time? What makes you be present? That's something that flamenco is like, when I'm dancing flamenco, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just here. I'm just present. So, and when you find that, I would say what worked for me, as I said before, try. I think that I like to do, I don't know, flamenco. Come to a class. Do it. Do something. Even if it's just this little. And maybe in 10 years, you are dancing flamenco with me. I'm just saying, do something. You just can't wait for someone to tell you. And this is a conversation I have with, I'm sharing like all the personal things in my life. But anyway, this is a conversation I have with my husband sometimes. It's like, yeah, it's easy for you because it's always been so clear. It's like the fact that it was clear doesn't mean it was easy. Clear in the sense of like, I love this so much that I'm going to feed my heart. See, I love this. So I'm going to do a little bit more. And that little more guides you here. And for example, for me, if I had an offer or if I have something to do and it doesn't feel right, like I'm doing it because someone is going to think about blah, blah, blah. I have to do this because it's what I'm supposed to. I'm going to do this because I have to show up and do blah, blah, blah. Then it's when it doesn't work. So I'm not saying, yes, sometimes we have to do all those things because we live in a society and we have to live. But just pay attention, just listen with wide open eyes and ears. That's what I would say. And dance, move your body.
Dance,
your body,
yes, dance.
Yes, your body is so powerful that it has messages that you probably, yeah. Sorry, I have a question.
Sure. Thank you. You are so inspirational and a joy to listen to. What has been a challenge pioneering expressive flamenco? There's a few questions here, but that's the first one. Sure. What has been a challenge?
Oh, pioneering. Oh,
pioneering. Yeah.
okay.
In beginning. You know.
Yes. So yes. So the most difficult part first was my own self. How are you gonna do this? Nobody knows this. Like you can't do this. Hearing the thinking. I was here like, I don't know what expressive flamenco is, but like biggest challenge were nobody know. Like flamenco is not as common here as it is in Spain. So I'm trying to create something that it's about flamenco that is not known And I'm not showing flamenco, I'm showing expressive flamenco, which is the next layer. So that was difficult. Challenging, sometimes people will just come to do a flamenco class and they will find something completely different. Normally people like, it's like, oh wow, I didn't think I would have this experience, but like, just, yes, making myself space. I still struggle with, and mostly it's on my side. Like, it's like, I want to do this workshop, yeah, but nobody's gonna show up. Like, the believing in my work. So, and also, for example, something, I wanted to do expressive flamenco as a therapeutic or expressive practice. And I also didn't want to do the master's degree because I couldn't afford it. And also because that was not what I wanted to do. However, if you don't have credentials, if you don't have the title, if you don't have something that supports your work, it's hard. So like for a while, I debated like, what do I do? Because I know that this is what I want to do. So I said, I'm going to do the certificate. And with that, I'm going to go and see what happens. But I had to create like experiences that didn't exist. And that takes time and effort. And it's challenging because you are trying to kind of like make a different pathway. The unknown, the financial aspect of it. So yes, there are some struggles on creating something new. Difficult, yes. Challenging, también. Yes. And worth it, totally. So,
Okay, so we have, what's a favorite memory?
Favorite memory?
Yep, from the expressive flamenco.
That's really hard. Wow.
And then I have one after that.
1 second, I need to think about this. I don't know. There's so many. No, really, it's just like hard. I guess.
One favorite memory.
It's still here, so probably it's that one. I presented expressive flamenco in Madrid, in my home, in both like bilingual English and Spanish. And my son was there with me and my husband, and it was such a beautiful experience. So I think that share my work in my home was a beautiful memory for me.
Could you feel it? Yes.
It's hard.
All right. Do you consider yourself an art activist as well as an artist?
That is a difficult question because I've always struggled with what being an activist mean. I do think so. I do not say that because I don't know if, I don't know, it's just like, I do think so because I'm talking about things that like has a social impact, that brings awareness about minority, like people who don't have the same opportunities. And I think that, yes. And at the same time, it's something that I've always like, I'm not like, but I do think there's part of my work that, yes. And especially, for example, now that I just landed in the world of disabilities, I am already advocating for things that I'm just figuring out by day. So I think that it's part of my identity too. I just don't embrace that yet, just because I just don't know what it means for me and for the, I think so. It's just difficult. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to you, Laura. And thank you to everybody who's been here. And thank you to our virtual audience. And I would like to just bring things to a close and say there's some refreshments outside to join. So maybe, have some more conversation. And again, so deeply, thank you. Thank you.